last couple of years. So what I'm here tonight is just to kind of present a short history and how he came up with that and kind of provide the background on how all that was determined. As you can see here, our assumptions for our water demands, and we've carried this throughout the entire process, the entire project, from the map planning report to our engineering report to the letter that was drafted from the town board to the mayor and to the village. We've used 170 gallons per day for a single family home. We've used 100 gallons per day for a mobile home and 250 gallons per day for a commercial business. Now, there's a bunch of different sources that we as engineers can use. One of them is this design manual for wastewater design, which we use. And this is kind of outdated. It's dated 1988, before a lot of the water-saving fixtures were put in. And if you look at this, for a two-bedroom home, the flow rate per day should be 300 gallons per minute. But keeping in mind that this document is almost 20 plus years old, without the water fixtures and the methods that are in place with that. Second item, and this is something that we looked at recently, is we looked at what is available based on actual data for the town. And we went through and we pulled the data from the Berry Water District and the Chestnut Water District. And this was just strictly on the water meter readings. We have all the information on all the accounts and everything like that. That shows that the Berry Water District, an average of 88 accounts, uses 149 gallons per day. And the Chestnut Water District, with the 28 accounts that are there, use an average of 117 gallons per day. So those numbers are hard numbers that were provided by the town of Pomfret water clerk. So that's as well. The third item that we have available to us, and this is something that we looked at too, is that we have from the American Water Works Association, we have recommended water usage as well. And based upon this document from the EWWA, they recommend 69 gallons per day per capita, and per capita is actually per person in a home. The town of Pomfret, if you take a look at the 2000 census data, has approximately 2.55 people per home. That's what the census came up with, and that's the most recent information that we have available. So if you multiply 69 gallons per day times 2.55, you have 177 gallons per day, which is really close to what we had here, but it's a little bit more than what the actual water districts are showing. So that's how we were able to come up with our flows. There's kind of three different ways to be able to do that. These next two tables here, just wanted to kind of give a little bit of historical perspective on how we came up with the numbers that were ultimately put into the letter to the village. These numbers here represent a memo that was drafted by our office to the board and to the village back in July of 2008. And at that time, we had estimated the phase one demands to be about 20 million gallons per year, and the remaining phases to be about 9.5 million gallons per year, for about 30 million gallons per year of demand. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that when this memo was drafted back in July of 2008, it was based upon, this right here wasn't that defined at that point. We had just completed the water supply studies in April of 2008. We were working through what the district would look like. So that was based upon the information that we had, and in fact, this part of the district was not there at that point yet, because we did the map plan and report, which was the official document, in March of 2009. So that's the historical perspective from the July of 2008 memo. And if you look here at the March of 2010 letter, April 2010 letter, we have approximately the same amount from phase one, 20 million, 19.9. The remaining phases again went up significantly there, and I'll explain that in a moment. And then the missing piece that was there at the time, and this was as a request from the health department, the DEC, and the various agencies we talked with, that they wanted Leona included within the North End Water District, which was ultimately why this was added to the area here. The discrepancy here between this number, this 5 million gallons that's here, that was from basically from refining the process. We had included the south side of Ellicott and Webster Road, all the residents that were there, and just basically looking through the data a little bit better to determine who could potentially be serviced and things like that. So if you add all that up, the phase one, the remaining phases, which would be the future build out, and also the Leona customers, you have about, which was in the letter, about 41 million gallons per year of water that's requested. However, if you look back and you really look at the details of that July of 2008 memo, we never included Leona in here. So that's why it's important to compare this 29.5 to 34. So there was some increase from 2008 to 2010, but this is now your defined project that is, you know, being presented to the funding agencies, to the public, you know, and to the village. So that's how these numbers that were discussed in the letter to the village were calculated.
Actually, Rob, I point out that is a very close number because when we did the overview, the conceptual view of the district, and then in fact when we designed the district, and we took in all the houses on the south side of the border of the district, that's pretty much your difference right there. That's a lot of it because we wanted it rounded out.
Right. So that talks about the historical